Well, welcome everyone. So this is the practitioners webinar. We actually now have two different types of webinars in the series. I'll tell you a little bit more at the end of this webinar about further possibilities to join us at the CCB Network. But for now, the CCB Network is European-wide. We have 9 different partners. You see Krzysztof, you got Eric, Marielle, a colleague of mine, Angelo, I think that's then Piotr works with Krzysztof, and we have a number more who mostly join us when they're not too busy giving trainings. And these organizations, they give both trainings, but also working with change management consultancy all across Europe. And we're all working together to really try to bring the possibility of more international projects, but with the local knowledge and experience that each of these partners have, and alongside to grow the best practices, which is where you guys come in. So I'd really like to give a big welcome to all of you, and I hope you really enjoyed today's webinar. I'm the community manager for CCB Network. I'm Isolde. So if you send emails to CCB Network, you probably get hold of me. But for no further ado, we'll get started with the webinar. And if you have any questions or if you need any help, then please put it in the chat and I will take care of you there. So hand over to Krzysztof, who will take you on the journey for this webinar.
Yes, thank you so much, Isolde. I think I would like to highlight the fact that we are ProSci partners from various countries and also various places in the city, Eric. Some of us are inside of our houses, but you look like you are somewhere, outside. Where is this?
Yeah, I'm on the hills of Amsterdam, yeah.
Yes, and on your high hills. Yes, guys. So we have Netherlands represented by Eric and Belgium. We had Angela representing Ireland. Who else we have from our network here? Piotr from Poland and Czech Republic. That's obvious. So guys, I think that's important to highlight because we would like to say that we want to be an open network for all practitioners, and I see some faces of the people who had been trained or certified by us even last week. So the more I'm happy, especially directing this to Michał. Hello, Michał, long time no see. There are also some other colleagues whom we met some years ago, like Branka, great to see you. Like I saw also Jelena, and sorry for those of you whom I'm not mentioning, but it would take long time. And also I see René, and I want to say that we were not together on the certification, but we were on some project that was really memorable before COVID happened. So those few individuals that I mentioned, this is representing how we would like to conduct in this network, because we just would like to exchange experiences. And for today, we have chosen the topic of change agents. I don't know, guys, how it is in your languages, but in Polish language, the word agent maybe doesn't have the best connotation. That's why we are using ambassador sometimes and even more often. But looks like in the ProSci best practice benchmarking research, there is a section about change agent networks. So please expect us to use those two names kind of equivalently and with no language connotation. So that's one thing. Another thing is that we have two guests for today who together with me will present the topic. And let me just present first their maybe faces and names, and let me allow them to present themselves. Gosia.
Hi everyone. My name is Gosia Nikończuk and I work in Microsoft Poland, and I'm customer success manager, helping our customer to adopt technology and coach them in change management.
Yes, and we have opportunity to work together on some project that Gosia will tell you guys about. So it's how many? 350 ambassadors? Yes, more or less.
Almost 400 right now.
Almost 400, yes. So it's not like there are more ambassadors than employees in the company, no. There are many more of them.
Like 5%. So we are
yes.
to recruit to have 10%.
Exactly. So Gosia is going to tell us the story about telecom/media group of around 8,000 people. Yes, yeah, 8,000 people with 400 ambassadors of digital. But this is not the only story. The other story will be delivered by Mateusz Benyk. Mateusz, please introduce yourself.
I'm Mateusz. I'm a project manager / product owner in Żabka Polska, the biggest franchisee network in convenience sector. Yeah, and I will tell you more about how we used ambassadors or super users, how we used to call them, in a project that we had in our company, the project of adoption of new tools, Outlook and others tools from O365's package.
So how many ambassadors, how many super users did you have?
Around 10% of our company, so almost 150.
Yeah, so as you can see, two pretty large groups. And also what we would like to show today is a little bit of ProSci benchmarking research on that. So let me, guys, start with the benchmarking report and sharing some of my experience briefly to introduce the topic. Then Małgosia and Mateusz will deliver their presentations / interview / Q&A. So please, that's the time also, guys, for you to ask our experts how they did it, what they would like to do differently maybe for the future, what they would like to repeat. And afterwards, if the time allows us, it would be great if we go to breakout rooms. Hopefully that would be possible so that we can discuss how we can use the knowledge that we have and how we can use our experience to boost the networks of change agents in our organizations to help us to implement our changes even better from change management practitioners' perspective. So for those of you with whom I haven't had the pleasure to talk or to meet, I'm working as one partner of ProSci in Europe. I'm located in Poland, working also in Czech Republic, and delivering ProSci certification trainings, delivering consultancy, and also working, for example, with Microsoft environment. So also managing the company. So my soul is closer to implementation. So whatever is about how to do it, how to make it happen, how to make it work, that's what really drives me. And that's why I invited two colleagues whom I know have very interesting stories to tell. So in terms of questions, I suggest that during the presentation of Małgosia and the interview with Mateusz, please drop questions to the chat panel so that I can review them and maybe we can pop up with some questions and then we will answer them at the end. So I think it will be the best way to proceed. So I think, guys, that we may move forward then. And first, I would like to ask you, what do you think? And please use the chat panel or use the verbal method of communication. Which answer is the right in the light of the research? How many organizations are using change agent networks today? What do you think which would be? Yes, Helen, you put 43%. Arthur, 10%. Rachel, 10%. Raquel, I'm not sure. Monica, 22. Not enough should be another option. Kuba, yes. Anya, Farah, 22 as well. And there are some other options like 10%, Branka. Kalinda, sorry, 22. Mateusz also. Guys, wow. And Gillespie, thank you so much, 72, because no one picked it. Yes, and Bert, 72, but seldom they work. So, guys, well, I don't know what the truth is because there is no truth. There may be some opinion 43% around. And by the way, when we had a meeting with change ambassadors some weeks ago, together with Microsoft in Poland, we had around 150 change ambassadors from various organizations. They indicated the same number. And there are people from various companies. So we can say it's pretty representative, but I think everybody can have own experience. So generally, the gap is still between 43 and 100% is still major. The question is whether it can be really helpful. So what are the roles by the research? So please have a look. To communicate about the change, that's majority. We would like them to communicate, to train others and provide implementation support, 66%, then another 66, leading and role modeling the change. That's interesting because as practitioners, we know that probably we would expect that from supervisors and managers. And then managing change also, we would rather expect this to be done by managers and supervisors, but still this is what the respondents and participants of benchmarking research were reporting. Another thing is, what is definition of this network? And we have various definitions. This is some body of people who are skillful and who are willing to, let's say, carry on the torch of the change in the organization, or it may be also a network of impacted individuals. Also, it can be part of the structure, and also this could be a network of influential leaders. So I think it's good to understand that there is no one clear definition that would be dominant. And I think it's important for us to understand, because then everybody can be right in their way of understanding the role of change agents. I'm afraid of opening the JPG that you sent, Eric, but I'm so keen on opening it that I had to do it. Okay. So guys, then another thing, what are the expectations of the change agent network? I won't ask you who is this gentleman, because this is very specific person. We use Polish local touch during this webinar, so I presented you the person who was Polish ambassador in New York, by the way, or I don't know where is Polish embassy. Maybe it's in Washington, DC. I'm not sure. Maybe in New York. I don't know. So he was in Richard Schnepf. He was an ambassador also in Mid-America. So ambassadors and change agent network, what are the expectations? To advocate, to be knowledgeable and to participate, to identify resistance and report issues, to communicate messages regarding the change, and to provide training and to provide coaching on a change. So these are the major expectations, and the rest that I separated with one blank line are, let's say, minor expectations in the light of benchmarking research numbers. So also, as you can see, is sharing best practices, is liaising between impacted teams, conducting change management even on projects which we would consider pretty far away from the change management itself, but still it happens, and also serving as an honest feedback channel. So I think, guys, that then another question comes, and also this is interesting how in Małgosia, in your case, and Mateusz, in your case, how it happened. We would ask also this question, but please have a look. What are the criteria? So some organizations were accepting those who wanted to do this, and also credibility, also knowledgeability, and also nominations. So I could tell you that I also experienced mixed forms of those selection. So like, for example, in some organizations, you could see that people are nominated by colleagues, not by bosses. And it's considered to be good method when we have pretty open culture of organization, because then the right people are picked. Because if you ask colleagues about who knows to whom you go when you want to ask for some advice, and to whom you go when you want to ask about what's happening in the organization, Yes, the embassy is based in Washington, D.C. Thank you, Mariel, from checking it. Yeah, in Washington. So then if we have those kind of people, we have the right people because colleagues are going anyway to them. So they are like good connection points, kind of communication hubs in the organization or nodes in the organization. So I also witnessed a couple of cases like this. And then, well, I think that's enough of the introduction. We could talk, I could talk a lot about the research. There are some other areas, but I would like kindly ask Gosia maybe first to share the story, and then Mateusz, there will be time for interview with you. So please, guys, place your questions in the chat panel if you wish to ask something. And Małgosia, the floor is yours. I think you have some slides, and then maybe I will ask you some more questions if the time allows. So please go on.
Yes, I do have some slides. Please confirm if you can.
Yes, we see perfectly.
Okay, super. So again, for those who join us later, my name is Gosia Nikończuk, and I work in Microsoft Poland as a customer success manager. So on daily basis, I'm responsible for driving the adoption of Office 365 and Microsoft Teams. So please forgive me if I fail with Zoom today. It's not my favorite technology. And what I'm doing, I'm supporting customer in adoption, and also I'm helping them to shape the project according to the change management and ProSci framework. Today, I'm gonna share with you some insights and my experience from the latest project that I have a pleasure to coordinate from the Microsoft side. And the project itself, from technical perspective, is about deployment of Office 365 for 8,000 of employees of Polsat. Of Polsat Group, which is one of the largest Polish companies and the leading media and telecommunications group in the region, and is consisting of more than 50 companies. We work together with Krzysztof. I have this pleasure to shape this project structure and to plan activities according to ADKAR framework, to ProSci methodology. But today, as Krzysiek asked me for, I would like to focus on the ambassadors program. That is a part of the project. So let me start with a short explanation. Who are the ambassadors of Office 365 in Polsat? So in this case, we recruited a group of almost 400 employees. Recruitation was broadly announced, and each and every employee could sign up for the program. And the role of ambassadors that we defined together with client is to firstly to engage in education, and the role of ambassadors is to seek new usage scenarios of Office 365 application, to improve their daily tasks, daily work. Also, their role is to help us to create, develop, and maintain the process of adoption, because we are trying to gather as much feedback as we can in order to make sometimes some changes in the program, to prepare it as much suitable for the employees as it can be. The role of ambassadors is also to promote new solutions. We want them to work with managers in order to foster teamwork and promote new way of basically getting things done, and to help others to understand digital environment, to help others in smooth transition to the new way of working. and to help them understand what the change is about. And how do they act? How do they work? Or rather, what we do to build this community. I'm just checking if my slides are still visible for you. Okay, everything works, I think.
Yes, visible.
Okay, so what we do. First of all, registration is ongoing and is still being open for everyone who wants to join us from the organization, and is automized. Once someone signed up to the program, is being automatically added to private team in Teams, where he or she can access all materials, all knowledge that we gathered, and also join the common space for the discussion and ask the question. They also have an access to us, to the experts, to me, to the engineers from Microsoft or from partner side. The names of ambassadors and the contacts to them are published on the internal project website to allow every employee to find the best person, the person that they know or work on a daily basis. The ambassadors also have exclusive access to dedicated trainings and experts. They having trainings before the whole organization, so they are first. Also, we provide them with regular meetings, to strengthen cooperation between us, to collect their feedback. And what we do to get it is, for example, we do focus interviews, inviting like maybe 2 or 3 people to check what is the level of the awareness, what is missing, what we can do better. We also organize some brainstorming sessions where, together with ambassadors, we are trying to find some ideas, to find some solutions to the challenges they are facing. And also we do surveys to check on which level of our ADKAR framework the ambassadors are currently are. And also we are also trying sometimes to entertain the ambassadors community. So we always do some quizzes, knowledge checks, and we are planning to organize some competition to foster kind of gamification. And last but not least, what is very unique in this project is that there is the one man who is the voice of the community, who is the leader of the ambassadors, and he was supposed to be today with us, but unfortunately he couldn't join. So his role is to, first of all, himself acting as an ambassador. He is giving the best example to other ambassadors. And his role is to ensure that we create environment to share feedback, and his role is also to encourage ambassadors to share experience within the community. What is especially cool, that he's even recording himself with small tasks each Monday and sending them to the ambassadors, explaining what is the task about. He's always responsible for the organization of meetings, workshops, and trainings, and all iterations that we have together with the community. He's constantly asking for feedback, helping them in solving the problems and challenges. And what is the most critical part, he's kind of the bridge between ambassadors, between employees, and us as a project team. And what I would like to emphasize is that his participation is fully voluntary, but please bear in mind that it still takes a lot of his time to coordinate it. Nevertheless, he is fully engaged. I can see that he enjoys that role, and yes, and he helps us a lot to address different challenges. And when it comes to challenges, let me share with you a few of them, just to prepare you. And what is important, I think, is that this list that I'm gonna share in a few seconds is coming directly from the feedback we got from the ambassadors. So first thing is that ambassadors are not prepared to respond to the resistance to their co-workers. They complain about that not everyone in organization is ready for this change. Not everyone understands why we are doing this. So they don't feel they are ready to handle this. They also emphasize that they need more support from managers. They need from them better recognition and better understanding what they are doing and what is the impact on the organization they may have. And the last thing is lack of time. They complain a lot for that, but I strongly believe that it is connected with the previous point, that if we have no sufficient support from managers, they also do not have space and time to fully engage in this initiative. And some few lessons learned from the projects and few things that I think that we could start with on the beginning of the project is as follows. So maybe not the first one. The first one I believe that we should do on all the stages of the project. So to analyze ambassadors' ADKAR, so to assess where we are in the understanding and readiness for the change in our key community. It's very important to create environment to collect feedback, because we talk a lot about it, that we need to have feedback, but I see in different projects that not always we have a space for that. So it is our role to provide ambassadors with this space. And what is important also is to prepare ambassadors how to react to resistance. What we are working on currently is to prepare the catalog of the possible answers, possible reaction, how to handle different statements, different feelings, etc. And this is connected with the next point is to prepare key communications for ambassadors, some activities that they can do within their teams. What we are doing right now is that we create some templates, the communication that they can leverage to inform their offices, their departments about their role. And the last thing that I put at the last, but I think that is super important and should be the first one, is to strongly focus on managers' readiness, to explain them how they can benefit from the ambassadors that they have in their team, and also to prepare them and ask them to support these people, to make them appreciated, to make them feel appreciated, and also to provide them with the space for doing that. And for me, that's all. I'm open for your question if you have. And also, Krzysztof, please feel free if you want to add something, because you are in the middle of this project as well.
There are some questions, and thank you, Gosia. So looks like yes, there are some topics that our colleagues are asking. So, for example, Joasha is asking, what is the typical time engagement requirement for a change agent, change ambassador? How does it look like?
This is a good question. But we were trying to assess that by talking with the ambassadors, and these numbers differ a lot. There are some people who spend a lot of time during the day, and this is visible because even if we look at the team, we see a few people who are very, very active, and they claim that spend like maybe even 3 hours daily to do this. But there are some people who only work in their small area, who help their closest friends, co-workers. And I believe that as far as they help others, even in the, in the smaller number of hours, it's still fine.
Mm-hmm. And I see also, Eric, you asked the question, something about AdCard. I'm not sure. How should I formulate it? Could you please ask it by yourself? Yes.
I think lack of time is very general as an excuse. So if you would dive into the ADCAR score, is it lack of awareness? Is it lack of desire? What does lack of time actually mean?
Can you please repeat? Sorry, because I'm fighting with my screen.
What you said, lack of time was a major challenge with the ambassadors or the secret agents. So I was thinking, lack of time, what does it mean? Is it lack of awareness? Is it lack of desire? Is it lack of knowledge? I mean, if you would relate it to ADCAR.
Yeah,
Kuba thinks they're lazy. So I'm not sure what lazy means. Lazy, is it lack of awareness? Is it lack of desire? What does it mean? Use ADCAR, guys.
So, as I walked through the surveys, they said that they are in general overworked. There are too many projects at the same time. So I think that is strongly connected also with the culture of work that they have.
Well, yes. I think if I may just let's say, add my perspective, because I think, Eric, it's partly desire. Like in Polish culture, we are not very keen on being above the average, or other people don't like other people to be above the average. So sometimes when you don't have enough of support, what Gosia said, from managers, you could just have, you want to keep low profile, keep silent. You are taking some benefits, you're going for trainings as ambassador, you are having some material. So if your colleagues are coming to you, you are helping, but you are not active enough, let's say. That's one perspective. And then the other perspective, I think what you said, Gosia, is typical situation with the change saturation. I think I would partly say it's just inability to cope. So I would say ability, barrier definitely, inability to cope in such saturated environment. I would say that's very popular barrier in other organizations. Even I can recall what we discussed, Michał, during the session last week.
Dzień dobry, Pani Kasiu. Nie bardzo wiem za bardzo, o co chodzi. Nie mam też czasu się w to wdrażać.
Sorry, I just muted the person. Sorry, that's yeah. So I think, Eric, there might be several elements, and I think for us it is really a challenge how to help people to cope with ambiguity, with uncertainty, and with saturation. I don't have answer for that, honestly, yet. But I think, what do you think, Gosia? Are those kind of reasons convincing you?
I think that we could go even deeper and ask about, the sponsorship, the support from the executive perspective. But let's leave it right now.
Yeah.
Alexandra, can I add something? I'm sorry you can't see me, but I don't have good conditions.
No worry.
With you at the moment, but I was wondering, I asked the question about the incentives, if there are any incentives for the change agents, ambassadors. Obviously in the ideal world we would be happy to have pure volunteers, so people doing things, having extra workload just out of their goodwill. But it seems that maybe, I don't know, maybe in Poland we don't have this culture that strong as in Western countries, but sometimes I think maybe it's good to introduce some competitive edge to the ambassadorship program. And obviously recognition, because people really feel to need that they are supported, that they are accepted, that they are doing a good job, and what they are doing has really added value. Yes, that they make it. So I was just wondering if there is this constant appreciation in any way visible, or because sometimes you just tell people what to do. Okay, you're a change agent, we will teach you, we will show you, and you devote a couple of hours, you do a couple of trainings, and then you let the people go. Yes, and you leave them alone, being convinced that they have the knowledge. But I think that, as goes for the ability to proceed, to go ahead, they have to keep practicing, and they have to be stronger, and they have to have the kind of incentive. I don't know whether you agree.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Definitely. And we always work on some methods to make these people feel appreciated, to make them visible in the organization, to find some way to provide them with some benefits. But it is very different within the organization on Polish markets. I think that we are still getting more mature in this area. But yeah, definitely I agree.
And communication-wise, do you support them in a way professionally? Because I think that storytelling can be very powerful with ambassadors. They have their own personal experiences going through the change, and they talk to people, they network. Yes, they give you feedback. So they have this really huge knowledge. Which they can relate to, and but they need support, probably building these stories and sharing these stories. So I was just wondering if there is any structured support offered to them.
Yes, this is what we are currently working on. During my presentation, that we are now preparing some kind of templates, some talking points for them to be ready to tell the proper stories about what the change is about right now. If I understood your question correctly.
I just thought about kind of personal stories, yes, of specific individuals, which actually you have to prompt in a way. Yes, you can have a team of your ambassadors gathered in one place and have sort of a brainstorming to encourage them to share their personal stories. Yes, when encountering this change. But I think that sometimes you need this professional encouragement to shape your story so that it's interesting to others.
It's a nice idea. Thank you for that.
And as Gillespie says here, maybe share day in life material, movie clips, etc. And this is, Gosia, in fact, something that we are planning only to do. So it's still work in progress. And yes, definitely, I think to make it a living thing, to make it just, so that people can see some movement inside, some energy. I think that's what really sparks energy with other people. So I think that that's important. And I would like to highlight one more, even not maybe a question, but a topic itself, like summarized, Branka, by what you put even in the same global company like Microsoft, actually national culture supersedes organizational culture. So I will let Gosia to answer, but I think to clarify, it would be good to know that we are not talking about Microsoft right now, of course, but Microsoft's customer. So I think that the culture of the organization really is very important here. Of the client. And also I think Branka and all the colleagues, I think it's important to have some global general comment from ProSci benchmarking report about the impact of culture on change management. So looks like not only country culture, but company culture, and mix of both is important. So I think this is deeper topic, as you put, Isolde. This is just for a separate webinar. So I think maybe we're gonna conduct one in the future about this topic. So Gosia, yeah, coming back to you and to this question about Microsoft global culture versus local Polish. That's interesting. If you can refer to that.
May I ask another question, please? I just raised my hand.
Oh yes, sorry. Because you were clapping, so I thought it's.
Yeah, no. I raised my hand. I don't know how to remove it now. I'm just clicking on it again.
Yes, please.
Okay. Anyway, but talking about these ambassadors, how do these people know that they are actually meeting expectations? How do you define success for them? I think that is for me, the foundation of it all.
And then Gosia, just adding to that, because Odunayo put another question related to this: how do you set KPIs that measure adoption? How do you track them? So yes, I think this is really crucial topic.
It is indeed.
I know.
Yeah, so let me be honest with you, because this is the community of people who are learning. And the thing is that we had some, general KPIs that we set on the beginning of the project. And now I think that we, together with the team, we are making kind of a pivot right now to define exact numbers and exact KPI, which will help us to check in few or 5 months what we in fact achieve. Because what you have to know is that this project is still, ongoing. We are just in the beginning of the initiative. So yes, we are still defining it together with ambassadors as well.
I'm just raising that because from my experience, if expectations aren't clear at the very beginning of the project, I'm going to be very blunt here, but the only thing you can do is fail, because it's never going to be good enough.
Yes, I know.
And that is the kind of a pitfall that we probably all tend to fall into. But it does deserve a very good discussion from the very beginning. What are your expectations and when will you be happy and how do you define success? And then up to us to do way better than they ever thought it could be. But yeah.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Just as I said, we started discussion with, the project team, which was on the beginning combined from the people with mostly technical background. Then some people from the business joined us, and we started to shape this in the way we want to have it. So that's why we do a lot of work together with Krzysztof right now to follow the best practices of the ProSci. And I think that we are progressing a lot. And we do these pivots to define again what are the critical KPIs for us.
I think also the challenge, as always, is in the sponsorship coalition. I'm not even referring to this case in particular, but various top managers might have various goals towards the project, and I see from some other implementations that it's not always easy to get alignment before we move forward about what the goals are. So I think you touched really very important point. Yeah. So guys, I would say that this is a great discussion that we have, but we have another case, and I would like to switch right now the focus of the camera to Mateusz. So if you have some other questions, guys, to Gosia, please put them. We will just forward them, and I think maybe we will make some summary of the meeting, because I see so many questions here that it's really worth to summarize in few topics for our also knowledge sharing. So I think this is really very good opportunity for us to capitalize on those kind of meetings. So thank you very much, Gosia. I know that you need to disappear in a moment for another meeting, so thanks so much, and thanks for the participation, and looking forward to capitalize on all those feedback that we collected for next activities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will work through all questions.
Yes. So thanks, Gosia. And then Mateusz, it's time for you. And we have, in this case, we agreed with Mateusz to take advantage of the form of conversation. So, I mean, 5% of my questions and 95% of your answers, and maybe you guys questions to Mateusz. So if you can say Mateusz, a few words about what your project was about, just in general, how big is the organization, and how did you came up with the idea of having ambassadors?
Yes, hello everybody again. Okay, so the company actually it's quite divided in area, because as I said before, we are the biggest Polish franchisee network. So if we want to talk about the whole company, we should say that we have over 7,000 places where we are working, or where our organization is. But in that case, I will be talking about the employees that we have in our offices, in our logistics warehouses. So those people, the number of those people is around maybe 2,000 now, 2,000 something. And the project that I will be talking about was about the migration from our old email, our old email. I don't know how to call it, but maybe from our old email, and I will close it without any specifics, to Outlook, and with that also implementation of all tools that we have with O365. So we were changing the client, we were changing the way of working with an email, and also we were changing the way of working between us together. So between one employee and another, we are switching from email me to send me a message on communicator, share a screen with me, share a file with me, and things like that. So that was the goal of the project. And the problem was that our company is quite divided. As I said, we have 6 warehouses and 1 headquarter. So we don't have all people in one place, and because of that, we were unable to provide the support to everybody on a very same level. And also, I was unable to tell that all employees are on the same level of knowledge of the new tools. And by that, we created the idea of super users, how we used to call them, not ambassadors, but super users. The goal for that group was to have around 10% of our company in that moment. So we are aiming to having 150 people in that group. After all, it ended up with less people than 150, because some of them just just resigned or decided that they don't want to participate in this action. Yeah. This almost 150 people. The first thing that we wanted from them is to provide the promotion of the tools. So whenever his or her colleagues send them a file via email, they ask them, do not send me a file via email, but just share it with me. Or I don't know, do not ask me on email if I want to go for a coffee. Ask me on Teams about that. So that was just very very soft way of changes, of implementing the changes. And also we asked them to provide support for our users. So how we decided on who will be in this group. Of course, we asked for volunteers on the first. We asked our main sponsor to send an email to the whole company that we are looking for volunteers to become our super users, that we will train, that will participate in a project. And I have to say that our company is quite keen on implementing changes. So basically, we actually had a lot of volunteers. We even had to tell some people that, you know, guys, we cannot interact with you because we already have 5 more people from your department. But also, of course, we looked on a company as whole, and we decided that we want to have super users in each department, in each place of our company, so that the user with a problem or the user that has a question about the tools that we are implementing can just raise the app and will see a super user that is able to help him. We used a big signs to mark people who are our super users. We also gave them hoodies like that one with the information that they are super users of Office 365. And that was our approach on how to point the super users. Of course, I had to ask a few people directly, so I used my relationships with them, and also I asked them if they know any people in different departments to encourage them. So that's how we created our group. Of course, we delivered trainings for them, quite a few trainings, but we didn't want them to become a specialists or I don't know, a help desk for us. We just wanted them to feel comfortable with using the tools, to feel comfortable with helping other users with the new tools and with the possibilities that the new tools gives us. And I can tell that we actually succeed because after the migration, our help desk didn't die because of the migration. They were able to leave the office at decent hours, and they had time to do other things. So I can tell, I haven't measured, but I can tell that those super users probably took over the main impact of our migration. So most of the questions were directed to them, not to us, not to our help desk, and that's quite important. And also important is that the promotion of this new way of working. And that's also, I can tell that's more or less was succeed because when the pandemic started, I don't know if you can recall, it's over a year ago now, but when our board decided that we shouldn't work from the office. We should start working from home office, from homes. We basically sent on one email, just take your computer to home and start work, because we already had everything in the cloud. We already had implemented Teams. We already had implemented SharePoint and things like that. They didn't have to actually do anything. They just took their computers and switched to home office reality, just like that, in one day, without any actual problem or any case. So I can say that we actually succeed in this transformation from old way to a new way of working. I don't know if I want to say something more. Krzysztof, ask me any question.
Let me yes, exactly. Let me
Yeah.
ask it, because I think I would like to use the question of René as also as a part of my question. So when you asked volunteers to do things, what kind of things you were asking them to do? Like, and René asks, what did you also ask them, outline what a good super user would look like? Did you define it somehow? Did you communicate somehow? Did you help them to understand it somehow and to follow
Yeah.
up?
Of course, I was honest with them, and I told them what do I expect from them. That I want them to be the first line of support for users. I want them to promote the new way of working, and I expect from them that they will be using the knowledge that I'm giving them during the trainings, during in the materials. Also, we've created a team on Teams where we were able to to exchange semi-official feedback about the implementation, about the feedback from users, from end users that our super users were getting, and we also exchanged information and knowledge on this team. At first, we were working with one of the companies that were supporting us during the migration, and we kind of like were creating the discussion on a team. So we were asking tricky questions and things like that. But then I've noticed that we actually don't have to do this, because the super users were asking questions on their own, and another super users were answering the questions. So very fast, this team has changed to I don't know how to call it, society of people who are just exchanging the knowledge and helping themselves together. So yeah, I was honest at the beginning with them. What do I expect from them? But later they actually get engaged by themselves in the project. They were quite happy with that. We also asked 12 of them, the most open people. We asked them to run the trainings for the whole company. So we've created 6 pairs of people. They divided the work between themselves, the tools between themselves, and they were running trainings for our end users in company. With their help, we managed to train all of our users in our company before the migration has ended. So that was quite a big achievement. Also, from this quite big group, we managed. I don't know if we, but we managed to find like a extra super user that become our trainer, like all the time and helps us all the time with the tools that basically probably has more knowledge, the bigger knowledge than I have about the tools at the moment, and is preparing the materials, the manuals for users at the moment. So we asked them to voluntarily help us. We were honest with them, but with time it evolved in a group that just likes to help. And I understand now why they wanted to help.
So Mateusz, I think we have another good two questions regarding this type of help that they provided, because then Eric and René, you are putting in the chat panel things around what is the ADKAR part that your super users are dealing with most. So the question is about, they are probably more focused on more driving knowledge and ability than awareness and desire. Is it right?
Yes.
Or they were fulfilling both roles?
I would say more with knowledge, reinforcement, the things that you can say that happens later, because we actually covered the awareness and desire by the communication. So our previous email client was how it was, and the whole company understood the problem, had a desire already to migrate to something that is more efficient, that will has less bugs, that will be user friendly, or I don't know, at least from 21st century. So the awareness and the desire already was in the company. It wasn't like, of course we had the users that said, I preferred old email client. Of course, there is always people like that. But they do understood the arguments. They do understood that the change is for good. We are not doing something, because some kind of director or board member just had an idea. We are doing this because we actually need that, and they can say that from their own experience. So the awareness and desire already was in the company. The problem was with the knowledge, with the reinforcement, with the change of way of a way how they are working.
So Ola is asking question, then looks like, because from my perspective also looks like the role of super users was really well grounded in the reality of ADKAR challenges. So on the side of the skill, not the side of will. And then the question is, from Ola, seems like it was quite effective with the change. What was the biggest challenge for super users, or what were the biggest challenges for the super users group?
The biggest, at first, gathering the knowledge, because that was something new for them. Of course, we all can tell that we know Outlook, for example, from, I don't know, from school, from studies, from home, and things like that. So yeah, of course we know that, but if you have to start working with that, that's something different. So the first problem was with gathering the knowledge. That took a time, quite a bit. We didn't have any actual problem with the managers. I don't know why. I cannot recall now, but I remember that I had conversations with few of them. I know that our change sponsor also had a conversation with managers, with directors. There was a separate communication for them. So I cannot recall a situation when a super user would say to me, I don't have time for that because my manager said I should do something else. But the secret was that I wasn't expecting much from them. I was just expecting from them, if you're talking on a coffee with your friends, just tell them, guy, let's schedule this coffee via Teams next time, not via email. Just like that. So the I can say that from the time perspective, I would say that I've presented it as a fun for them. Just have fun, have a normal conversation over a day, and with that you will promote and you will change the way of thinking of your users. I think so. I didn't do it intentionally.
Okay, so I think, Mateusz, then the last question from my side would be, what would you do differently next time approaching such a project and trying to build a community of change agents, or maybe better?
Krzysztof, I lost you.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, now it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then for the next time on building such community, what would you do differently?
Probably I would start faster with that. And maybe I would try to create longer lasting bonds between people from that community, because this project happened now almost 2 years ago, and some of them, of course, are still talking with each other. Sometimes they even write a message on our team, but it's not like, we are company friends, or I know that person because he was a super user as I was. So I think that I would focus more on that. Maybe some extra, I don't know, go outs with these people, maybe a party, something like that. We didn't focus on that last time, and I think that that's something that I'm missing at the moment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mateusz. Any other question, guys, you would like to ask? So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think it was a great comparison of the two cases. One that was more focused on building all elements of ADKAR. The second one focused more on building the third and the fourth and the fifth element, knowledge and ability, and then reinforcing. And I would like, guys, I think there is not enough time for us to go to breakout rooms, but still we'll have some time for Q&A. And I would like to foster this Q&A with 3 more pictures from some research, but for this time, this is not ProSci research, but this is our questionnaire that we made through the community of our clients. So how many change agents were active in your cases? That was the question. And guys, maybe that's not even a quiz, because there is no right question for that, a right answer for that question. But I would be interested, what would you pick from your experience? Please put it in the chat panel, whether it was 0 to 25%, or on the other hand, more than 76%. What would be your first assessment of your reality? Yeah, so we see that definitely it's very rarely to be D, Monica. So it's good that you can indicate D. That would be good. Yeah, but we have Bs, we have Cs, we have even A or not. No, luckily not. Yeah. So in this case, that's the distribution of answers. So let's say half of our respondents said that half of change agents were active, and like almost 40% said that between 26 to up to half, let's say, of the group of change agents were active. So we can see, at least on the population that was interviewed here, we have huge potential for improvement. So like, you employ people, I mean, you ask them to be your agents, your supporters, and let's say only something like 15% maybe of respondents say more than half of them are active enough. So I think that's what could be the challenge. Then how they were.
Krzysztof,
Yes.
can I comment?
Oh yes, please. Of course.
Because I think that we have a tendency to forget that our change agents are our employees as well, and we should also look at them in the same way. Yes, they also go through the change. So that's what I wanted to comment.
Yes, well, that's something that I will just present in a few minutes, or even shorter, faster, about talking about barriers. But yes, absolutely. But that's the picture, guys. So let's say we are moving forward, not even with 20% of potential of our power of change agents. So then another thing, how do you recruit them? And again, guys, what would be your picks? What would you say out of those 4? We don't have any other, but of course, if you want to have any other option, you can indicate. I just put the 4 most frequently indicated. What would you say would that be? Michał, you say you put B. Mateusz, Jelena also B. Yes, Rene, BC. And you put C. Ola, BC also. So something between volunteering, but with some required prerequisites, like to write short application, for example, maybe, or supervisor's nomination. What else do we have? Yeah, B and B and having plan B. C and then need to agree. So guys, there is some noise. So would you please mute yourself? Oh, sorry. So then, guys, that's again the distribution of answers. And to my surprise, I think Isolde, you are just not, you cannot catch up with muting people. Sorry for that.
No.
So I just want to highlight that I'm really surprised having no.
It's our car we should be thinking of now.
Okay.
Make it talk.
Okay, I muted. I hope I muted the right person. So anyway, I'm surprised not to have here any colleague indication, peer indication. That what I mentioned, I really experienced several times that is very effective way of picking up change agents. So that's our, let's say, group of people whom we interviewed. I don't know, it's definitely not representative, but still, I think we have like too many people who could apply with no restrictions, or let's say with no, with the bar was very low, I would say, no requirements. So I think that could be partly the reason why in this group the activity of change agents was not sufficient, I would say. So that's another thing. And then last but not least, what were reported as what challenges they were reporting. So for example, lack of, let's say, maybe not even lack of time, but just time versus other tasks. Yes, that's right. That was a pain point. Another pain point was not sufficient preparation for the role. And I think what somebody of you asked, what were the goals for them, what they should, how they should behave. I think that's really important, because then it's difficult to prepare for something that you don't know, that you need to prepare for. And then not appropriate profiles to be selected. For example, people who are not well connected with others, people who are maybe good experts, and good in accumulating information, but not great in sharing information. So also that's important. Also, some of our respondents were indicating that maybe there were people who thought they would be good change agents, but were not perceived as such by their colleagues. So that's also important part. And then relationship with managers. Challenges when managers say, I'm not for this change. Why are you wasting your time for this? Why are you wasting the time of my people for this? So definitely to prepare change agents, it's to prepare also the environment in which they need to work. So then skills in kind of soft part of change management, communication, dealing with resistance, dealing with objections, and also relationship building. And the last but not least, not enough clear goals. So these were the elements that people were indicating. And guys, based on that, I think it would be good to use just few minutes of our meeting that we have ahead of us to have some discussion. I would start with René question. The challenge of not having supervisors involved is that you end up with the eager ones who then end up having no time. Oh yes, I think it could be so true. Yes, and I also witnessed one case like this when I was recruiting some time ago consultants, and I had two applications from the same company, and both guys told me they were change ambassadors there. And I asked both of them, not at the same time, of course, but on individual interviews, so why are you leaving the company? And they said, both of them said, well, maybe 10% of all the change ambassadors are in the company still. Everybody else left because there was huge conflict between line managers and ambassadors. So like ambassadors were perceived as some privileged ones, and managers perceived them as overprivileged. So they just didn't like that somebody has more information, that somebody has more influence and more empowerment to act. So in this case, I would say supervisors were just not enough on board for that project. So ultimately, it looked like they not only created some conflict in the organization, but they lost many good people because those ambassadors were just leaving the company one after another. So that was really very, very painful, and I think to them, and for me, it was really shocking, like how you can use or waste such potential. So guys, any other comments from US practitioners from your cases maybe? What should be taken into account as a critical activity when we think about launching Change Agent Network and maintaining it? Yes, please, René.
I think one of the most important things, at least in my experience, having run a few of these, is that you establish a community feeling amongst your change agents and your super users. And I think you can often actually, you can have a community of both. And then as Eric also alluded to earlier in his comment, then you have the change agents focusing more on the awareness and the desire part, but also possibly on handling the middle managers that have a hard time dedicating people's time for these tasks. And then you have the super users concentrating more on their peers and the ones that need to learn the new system or operate in the new processes. But then you have a joint community for both of them because they're in it together. So I would be hesitant to split them up. But I think I've seen really good value in having change communities that involves both these roles.
Very good point. Very good point. And then you can take care of all elements of ADKAR. Yes, great. Yes, absolutely. Mariol, you say it's a good idea to involve the primary sponsor in building and enabling the community. Oh yes. Oh yes. Do you have any experience on doing that in practice?
Yes, I have. When working with a large customer, we face challenges with people, having lots of responsibilities, so basically no time to actually do this. And we involved the primary sponsor in explaining to the whole organization, including all levels of management, that this role that they had was crucial and they needed to be made available to actually do whatever it is that they were expected to do. And that really helped.
You can say these are little things that make all the big thing working. So yes, that's exactly what we are expected to find, little things that make all the rest working. Yes. Okay, guys. So I think we have just 3 minutes left. So I would not like to keep you longer than expected, because I know that it's still a business day. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mateusz. Thanks very much for Gosia, and thank you, Isolde, for putting this all together. So I'm passing, Isolde, the floor to you to wrap up the session.
Yeah, thank you, Krzysztof. Also, I don't know if I say your name correctly, but thank you, Mateusz. Great to have you with us today. Yeah, so basically, this is you've just been part of another CCB network. Before some of you go, we do have an informal kind of discussion time afterwards, after these webinars. So even if you can't make it today or stick around, then keep it in mind for the next one. So we quite often like to have a kind of, we have the sort of formal part, which is where we're really presenting something as a CCB network. We also love to just open up the floor to everybody afterwards to maybe share a drink, share a chat, bring your own questions, and they could be completely off topic. We've had some really nice discussions in the previous ones, so keep that one in mind. Again, so thank you to today's host. It was really brilliant to have this topic brought to us. It's been a while since we've had anything about change networks, so it's a really good topic to have covered. And we have more webinars coming up. So we have webinars like this one, which is especially for ProSky practitioners. And that's every third Tuesday of the month at the same time, so 3 o'clock for those people in the Netherlands. And I'll let you kind of work it out around there. Otherwise, I get very, very confused with my times. But basically, if you know of any practitioners, please do spread the word. It's really, these webinars are designed to be really interactive. We like to hear from you guys, and we like to bring some really interesting topics. So if you have topics, that's the second thing, please put them in the chat, because we would like to keep these in mind for future webinars. Beside the practitioners webinars, we also have webinars for people who are completely new. So if you have people in your organization that you'd like to introduce to ADCAR, I think Krzysztof is doing a nice sort of sideline here. Then every first Monday of the month, we have ADCAR webinars with different themes, and it's great for the more beginning people. So people who are wanting to get a little bit acquainted with change management. So if you want to seduce people into using ADCAR or playing with the ideas that you've received yourself from ProSky, then keep this one in mind. All of this is on the CCB Network LinkedIn page, and we're promoting a lot of other activities beside this, so keep that page in mind. And I'm going to put my email in the chat now, so feel free to reach out, and I can keep you informed about any of the new things that are coming up. I imagine there's quite a lot of information already today, so feel free to make contact, and we'll keep you posted. Again, thank you everybody who's joined. Feel free to open up your videos now. You can take your mute off as long as there's not crazy sounds in the background. Feel free to leave if you've got meetings to go to, but it would also be really nice to have a conversation for those of you who'd like to stay. Thank you again. So floor is for everybody.
Thank you, Isolde. Yes, I have to leave, unfortunately. So seeing some familiar faces. Yes, that would like to say goodbye. And
goodbye, thank you.
Time. Yes.
Bye, Krzysztof. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.